Let's get started with this week's Sunday Sports.
Drop!
All right. Back here on the Sunday Sports Drop. You can find me, by the way, at Jazz Santana on Twitter. That's my Twitter handle, at Jazz Santana. And obviously the text line was given out earlier. Right now, we're going to go straight to it. We're going to talk to a Kansas City Chiefs beat writer for the Chiefs Wire and USA Today Sports. This is, we're on with Ed Easton Jr., again, the Kansas City Chiefs beat writer. Thank you so much, Ed, for joining us on the program this early on. I know that it's Super Bowl Sunday, so you got a lot going on. Thank you so much. Oh, do we have Ed there? There we go. Ed.
Yes.
Can you hear me? All right, man. Hey, thanks, Ed. Thanks for joining the program, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, man, it's a pleasure to be on, man. Just happy for a Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, it's the biggest day of the year for the NFL, and obviously the biggest day of the year for you guys. I mean, I can imagine how crazy it's been at least the last couple of weeks. Are you down here? Are you down in Tampa, or are you up in Kansas City? Where are you at?
Right now, man, just back in Kansas City. We really can't be down there. We only have a limited amount of people that can actually be at the event because of obvious reasons, and this is the new normal. Everything's been Zoom this year.
I know. It's been kind of crazy. We actually got live photos of Radio Row, and it was like a ghost town. So it was pretty what's the word? It was pretty depressing. So, but listen, hey, we get to enjoy a really good game, right? Obviously, we're gonna get into that, but before we do, I'm asking every guest that I've had on today your favorite Super Bowl snack or your favorite Super Bowl food.
Oh, man. You know what? I have to go with the buffalo wings. I just feel like wings are always undefeated. You can't go wrong with them, whether you have them sauced or not. Yeah, man, wings. That's my go-to.
Well, they're undefeated on this show, too. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable, you guys, with your wings. I'm going to be honest. I love wings, too, man. But I got my buffalo chicken dip. That takes the cake for me, man. Before we get into the Super Bowl talk, well, this is, I guess, Super Bowl talk as well. Situation kind of came up this past week, whether it's small or not, is the Britt Reed situation, right? I know he was involved in a car accident, and being that his last name is Reed, I'm assuming that he is. I'm not sure how he's related to Coach Reed, but I'm assuming he is. Talk to me a little bit about that. Is that going to affect anything that's going on as far as him being an assistant coach? Game planning, does this kind of throw a wrench in everything, or is Andy Reid kind of like focused and ready to go?
Well, it is his son, so it's obviously going to be something that's going to be on his mind. But from what I've been hearing, Andy Reid has been just focused on the game. You can only control what you can control in regards to a situation like this, which is very unfortunate. And your heart goes out to the children that were involved and the families that were involved in this situation. It is something that is in the back of his mind, but it's something that he can control is just getting ready for the game. So it'll definitely be a lot more talk after the Super Bowl, but as of right now, their focus is on the game, and it's like I said, it's just a very unfortunate situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, listen, I mean, obviously the biggest storyline, right, which is always a storyline for most of these Super Bowls, especially when you have these guys involved, Tom Brady versus Pat Mahomes. We're all talking about it. It's always, is Pat Mahomes the next Tom Brady? Or, obviously my thought process on that is no, he's not, because it's just a different style of play, right? Is he just as, I mean, he's obviously a better quarterback now, but the longevity aspect of it all plays into my thought process. But aside from the quarterback draw, I guess, what do you think is going to be the biggest key matchup in this game? A lot of people are talking about defenses, the trenches. Talk to me a little bit about what else we can kind of see and what you think your key matchup is for this game.
Well, I think the key matchup, if you're looking in regards to the Chiefs' offensive line and how beat up has been all season, you're going into a situation where one of your best tackles, Eric Fisher, he tore his Achilles at the end of the conference championship game 2 weeks ago, and that changes the way they have to align everybody. You have Mike Remmers, who's typically a right tackle, having to play left tackle for the first time since 2016. And if anybody remembers, he was actually on that Super Bowl team for the Carolina Panthers against the Broncos, where Von Miller was the MVP. So there's some worries there. having a couple of guys that are not really well-known names on the line starting in the Super Bowl does cause for some concern when you're going against guys like JPP, Sue, and all the havoc they could cause in regards to the Buccaneers defense. So keeping Mahomes protected, making sure the run game gets some type of production will have to be the biggest win for the Chiefs. So the offensive line is a cause for concern. But if I had to look at just another secondary matchup, I look at what the Chiefs defense has done over the last couple of weeks. Tyrann Mathieu has been amazing all season. Frank Clark has turned into what we call playoff Clark because of the production he has in regards to rushing the quarterback. And, obviously going against a guy like Tom Brady, you want to make him as uncomfortable as possible. He has the history of going against Steve Spagnuolo's defense, and Spagnuolo has found ways to figure out Tom. So those two matchups, I think, are such a big deal heading into this game.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that, right? Because you kind of answered my next question was, what kind of adjustments would they need to make, to protect Mahomes with Eric Fisher, Mitchell Schwartz out. So that's obviously something. But let's talk a little bit on the other side of the ball, right? You mentioned Frank Clark, Tyrann Mathieu. Chiefs obviously have a great defense as well. But here's the thing, right? How do they deal with the Bucs' weapons? So, for instance, Gronk had his best game of the year against the Chiefs. 6 catches, 106 yards. I don't think he had over 80 yards receiving in any other game this year, right? So, for me, it's going to be the matchup. That's Tom Brady's boy. So that when times get tough, that's probably the guy that he wants to go to. I know he's got a lot of weapons on the outside. And for me, the running game is still suspect, although it's been better lately. How are the Chiefs going to, basically, what are they going to do on defense to stop Brady and the offense? But most importantly, Gronk getting open and making plays, because he's known for doing that also, especially in big games.
Well, Gronk is always a threat, no matter what the situation is. But seeing how Gronk played this season, this isn't the same Gronk from New England. And I believe back in Week 12, he did make some big plays, and that was a little later in the game. I could see them playing not too cautious because the fear is still on the outside. A guy like Tyrann Mathieu can pick him up in coverage if necessary. I just feel if you're going to get to Tom Brady, it's going to have to be pressure, and the defensive line of the Chiefs is very good. So you talk about a guy like Frank Clark, Chris Jones, and just putting pressure on that offensive line, making Brady have to get rid of the ball quicker. And, a guy like Brady, as good as he's been, you want to force him into tough situations where he has to make uncomfortable throws. He's not the same quarterback that he was in New England, where he can make a quick adjustment. He can process all those different guys in a quicker speed. So you want to make sure he's pressured in some type of aspect and forced to make some tough throws, which he had to do in Week 12, and that's why Tyrann Mathieu was able to take advantage of him later in the game.
Well, and you saw that last week, a couple weekends ago also, where he got flustered a lot through 3 straight interceptions and 3 straight possessions, right? And a lot of it was pressure that came up the middle, and he just threw the ball up there. So you're seeing that a lot more from Tom. Although obviously we're from Miami, man, so we're not huge Tom Brady fans down here, right? So anytime we can pile it on the guy, we do. But we've noticed that he didn't do that in New England, right? He had he was a different quarterback. He's obviously a little bit older. He's still playing well, but if you can get pressure on Tom Brady right now, I think he's going to be more reluctant to let the ball go early, and that's going to cause turnovers, which I think KC's going to be able to do a good job with. Now, before I get into my last question, you've obviously got Travis Kelce, who I don't think anybody can stop. Who's, for me, he's probably the best just offensive player in the league right now. He just gets open and he makes plays all the time. Tyreek Hill is obviously the most dynamic for me, the quickest guy on the team, knows how to make plays in open space. Just give him the ball and he goes. They're going to have to stop one or the other, right? Or maybe they try to kind of hone in and stop both of those guys. Who do you think is going to come out and kind of have a bigger game? Is it going to be Tyreek Hill? Is it going to be Travis Kelce? And obviously, I got a prop bet that I want to talk to you about. It's kind of funny, but who do you think is the guy that kind of comes out and has the bigger game? Because we've seen that sometimes when Travis Kelce has a huge game, Tyreek Hill kind of takes a back seat a little bit. Then Tyreek Hill explodes, and Travis Kelce still gets his numbers, but they're not. So talk to me a little bit about that dynamic.
Well, this has been the million-dollar question for defenses going against the Chiefs all season. And we remember from Week 12 what Tyreek Hill did just in the first quarter alone. I mean, he's such a tough matchup because of his speed. And then when you're talking about possibly doubling over the top, you're leaving other opportunities, which you've seen Travis Kelce has taken advantage of all season. And I just want a quick note: Travis Kelce, not being Offensive Player of the Year to me is just a crime. And I understand he's a tight end, and that typically does not go to that position, but he was amazing all season. And like I said, back to your question, Tyreek Hill over 200 yards last game. They're going to try to do everything they can to obviously slow that down, and they did that to an extent in the second half of that game. But that's when Travis Kelce got more of his opportunities to make plays. To me, the biggest thing in regards to that, because I still believe it's going to be the same formula. Kelce's going to get a lot more opportunities underneath if nothing's available for Tyreek Hill. One of the biggest factors that I think people always forget around this time is Sammy Watkins. If Watkins is healthy, he is one of the better possession receivers in the league, and he does such a great job of getting open in those scenarios when Mahomes cannot find someone. So we remember what he did last year's Super Bowl and how effective he was. Watkins is a large target that Mahomes loves to have in the lineup. So if he is healthy, the game-time decision today, it will be a huge help in regards to what they do in the passing game. And then we also can't sleep on what Clyde Edwards-Helaire can do. He's actually healthier now than he has been the last couple of weeks. He was such a big part of the offense at the beginning of the season, and getting him on the right track and having a balance of the run and the pass can make it very difficult for the Buccaneers defense, especially the secondary.
I'm going to throw out another game, another player for you. And this is why the Chiefs offense, I think, is so dynamic and so crazy and so hard to stop. One word answer for you. Okay. There's a prop bet out there that Mecole Hardman is, it's at 2+ catches and plus 20 and 25+ yards, for the game. That's easy money to me, man. Are you taking that or what?
Oh yeah, I would take that, especially if Watkins isn't able to go. I think that's almost like a slam dunk. That's a guarantee.
Oh yeah. That's easy money for me, man. I love that kid, and he's almost as explosive as Tyreek Hill, so it's fun to watch. Ed Easton Jr. here joining us again. You can find him at Ed Easton Jr. JR on Twitter. He is also the Chiefs beat writer for the Chiefs Wire and the USA Today Sports. Did I get that right, Ed?
Oh, that's correct, man.
There you go, man. Thank you so much for joining us here, and good luck to the Chiefs, and have fun, man. Eat a lot of wings.
Oh, yeah, man. You too. Take care.
All right, thanks. Every Saturday at 11 a.m., soccer fans can connect with Austin Robillard and Red Card Radio from the Premiership to the MLS. Catch up with your favorite team, including our very own Inter Miami CF. Listen to Red Card Radio every Saturday from 11 to 1 p.m. with Austin Robillard exclusively at OnSideRadio.com. When we come back,